Hey everybody, in this activity we're actually going to watch a capacitor charge and discharge. As with the experiment from the last DL, there are two versions of this video. The only difference between the versions is the resistance of the resistor in the circuit. Half of you will be working with one version and half of you will be working with the other. The setup of the circuit is as follows. The current will start at the battery, flow through this resistor, then through this capacitor. This voltmeter is measuring the voltage across the capacitor itself. When I plug it in, this capacitor will start to charge. Your job is to take data points in order to make a graph of the voltage across this capacitor as a function of time. When you make this graph, you should see the exponential behavior that we expect. If you're watching this video, it's because you're one of the groups that's working with the 50 ohm resistor. I will apologize in advance. The fact that this resistor has a larger resistance than the other resistor means that it's going to take longer for the capacitor to charge and discharge. As we can see, the capacitor is currently discharged or extremely close to it. I'm going to plug in this wire to complete the circuit. Your job is to take data points of times and voltages across the capacitor so that you can put these points on a graph and see what the shape is. If you need to, you can always pause this video to take the readings. All right, ready, set, go. The maximum voltage is supposedly 1.5 volts because that's the voltage of this battery. As we can see, the closer that the capacitor gets to 1.5 volts, the more slowly its voltage is increasing. This is what we expected. It's going to take a long time for our voltage to actually reach the maximum. So I'm going to stop this circuit here by unplugging this wire. Notice that the voltage stays at its maximum value. This is because in order for the capacitor to discharge, we need a complete circuit. And currently, this circuit has a break in it. In a second, I'm going to plug this in directly to the resistor. This will allow the capacitor to discharge. Just as when it was charging, it's your job to take data points of voltage and time so that you can graph them and see the shape. You ready? Set, go. as we expected, the capacitor is discharging more slowly as its voltage gets closer to 0. Let's wait a little while longer, but don't worry, we won't wait for it to get all the way to 0, because that would take too long. All right, you should have enough data now to be able to draw a pretty nice looking graph.